Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into something that's really changing the game for finding information online. Answer engine optimization, or AEO for short. Forget just getting lists of links. We're talking about setting up your content to be the direct answer that pops up on these new AI platforms. The answer engines?
Exactly. It's a different mindset, isn't it? Like traditional search gives you a menu, right? Answer engines, they just bring you the plate.
Good analogy.
Yeah, you get these, precise answers, little summaries, snippets, maybe even step-by-step instructions. Right there. No more endless clicking.
And you really have to understand, this isn't just some, passing trend. AEO feels like a pretty fundamental shift in how we find stuff online, how information discovery works.
Oh, absolutely. It's already happening. You see it in tools you probably use all the time, right? Google's SGE, Microsoft Copilot, which used to be Bing AI, ChatGPT, Bard.
And those visual ones, too, like Perplexity AI and Google Lens.
Yeah, right. All of these are pushing us towards getting answers more directly. They're totally reshaping how we engage with information.
So that's our mission today. We want to break down how you can get your content noticed, optimized, and seen as the authority in these new AI environments.
And there are some really cool opportunities opening up, too, Things like handling different types of information, multimodal stuff, understanding context better, personalization.
And showing up on voice assistants and smart speakers, that's huge.
Definitely. And it's interesting, there's already some data on referral traffic from these AI tools. One study pointed to ChatGPT actually sending a decent amount of traffic, though it really seems to vary depending on the industry.
Okay, so we've mentioned it a few times. Let's really nail it down. What exactly is answer engine optimization? Like, in simple terms.
Okay, simply put, AEO is optimizing your content so it provides a direct, clear answer when someone asks a question using one of these platforms. It's making sure your expertise shows up as the answer, not just in a list of potential answers.
So it's kind of flipping the script. Instead of burying the lead deep in an article, you put the answer right up front.
That's it exactly. You have to understand the specific intent behind the question. It's less about just targeting broad keywords and much more about zeroing in on what the user actually wants to know. Often they just want to know simple, quick facts.
Right. So by giving those direct answers, you're not just hoping for visibility, you're actually improving the whole experience for the person searching.
Totally. Quick, concise answers make for happy users, and AEO is also fundamentally about building your authority, showing you're the expert.
How does the content structure play into that?
Structure is key. Content that's really well organized, easy to grasp, that's crucial. Think about using things like bullet points, clear headings. They make it easier for people to read, sure, but they also help the answer engines quickly grab the info they need to display.
Okay, so the core idea is really tuning our content. So these smart platforms, the search engines that are evolving, the voice assistants, can just lift the exact accurate answers to questions. Less about climbing the ranks on a page, more about being the best answer.
You got it. Especially for those common questions, the FAQs. And ultimately, it's about making your website the trusted source for that information.
That makes sense. And why is this becoming so much more important now?
Well, it really mirrors how people are searching these days. The behavior is shifting.
Like the huge rise in voice search, everyone's talking to their phones and speakers.
Exactly. Siri, Alexa, Google Assistant. People are just asking questions naturally out loud, and AEO is built for that, providing those direct, often spoken answers.
But it's not just voice, right? People just seem less patient online generally.
Totally. We all want faster, more relevant answers, like now. AEO delivers that speed and relevance, no matter if you're typing or talking.
And you mentioned platforms like Copilot and Google SGE. They're not just showing links anymore, are they? They're generating summaries right there.
That's the big change. Your content literally needs to be the answer itself, not just point towards a possible answer somewhere else. Plus, think about mobile. Everyone's searching on their phones.
Right. Need quick answers on the go.
AEO helps deliver that, making the mobile experience way better. And behind the scenes, the algorithms, especially Google's, are getting incredibly smart about understanding intent. They prioritize giving those quick, relevant answers.
Which brings us to featured snippets, those answer boxes at the top.
Prime real estate for AEO. They call it position 0. And studies like one from Ahrefs showed they grab a really significant chunk of the clicks, like around 8.6% on average when they're right at the top.
Wow, okay, so landing there is a huge visibility boost.
Huge. And, this whole AI search space is moving so fast, businesses jumping on AEO early, they get a real first mover advantage.
And it's not just tech search anymore, is it?
Not at all. Think about AI integrated into voice assistants or visual search like Google Lens, where you can ask questions about images. AEO makes sure your stuff can be found across all these different ways people look for information now. Perplexity AI is another good example, mixing text and visuals. Your content needs to work for all that.
So it really just boils down to meeting people where they are with the kind of answers they expect now. Fast, reliable.
Exactly. That builds trust, keeps people engaged. The demand for speed and accuracy driven by voice and AI means people expect answers without having to click around so much.
And the AI chatbots and voice assistants are getting really good at delivering that.
Incredibly efficient. So for businesses, adapting your content strategy isn't just like a nice to have anymore, it's becoming essential. But it's also a massive opportunity to connect directly when someone needs help.
Okay, AEO is clearly critical. But how is it actually different from good old SEO, search engine optimization?
Yeah, that's a really important distinction. Think of it like this. Traditional SEO is about getting seen broadly. You target a range of keywords, try to rank high across the board on search results pages.
Casting a wide net, like you said.
Right. AEO is much more focused. It's laser targeted on providing the direct answer to a specific question. It's less net, more precision spearfishing.
Okay, so instead of just ranking for best running shoes, AEO might target, what's the best running shoe for flat feet? And aim to be the answer in a snippet.
Exactly. You're aiming for those quick answer formats, featured snippets, voice search results. Answer engines prioritize that concise, relevant, immediate answer. That's why AEO is so crucial now for visibility and engagement.
Got it. And what kinds of answer engines are we actually talking about?
You can kind of group them into two main buckets. First, there are the generative AI bots. Think ChatGPT, Bard. They create these human-like conversational responses. Then you've got the AI-powered voice search assistants, your Google Assistant, Alexa. They use voice recognition to understand what you say, then AI and natural language processing, NLP, to find and speak back a relevant answer. Totally hands-free.
Okay, so looking ahead, is AEO basically the future of SEO? Or is it something else entirely?
Well, there's a really strong case to be made that AEO is where SEO is heading, or at least a huge part of its evolution. It's definitely a new kind of optimization that's popped up because of tech changes and, like we said, how people search now.
So optimizing for questions, aiming for snippets and answer boxes.
Precisely. And with voice search and virtual assistants booming, its importance is just going to keep growing.
So the overall SEO market is still predicted to grow, right? So traditional SEO isn't just vanishing.
No, not vanishing. But how we do traditional SEO is definitely changing. You can't just stuff keywords anymore or rely on low-quality links. The focus now, even in traditional SEO, is shifting heavily towards high-quality, relevant content that actually helps the user.
Which sounds a lot like what AEO requires anyway.
Exactly. They overlap significantly. AEO, by directly answering questions, inherently boosts your visibility in this new search landscape. Remember that Ahrefs stat about featured snippets getting nearly 9% of clicks? That shows the power.
But it's not guaranteed, right? You can't just decide to be in the answer box.
Right, that's a key challenge. Algorithms change. There's no magic bullet. And here's the slightly weird part. If your answer in the snippet is too good, the user might not even click through to your website. They got what they needed right there.
Huh. So success looks a bit different. Fewer clicks might actually mean you answered the question perfectly.
Potentially, yeah. It's a different metric to track. So the most likely future is that AEO and traditional SEO become, deeply intertwined. You probably need both working together.
And things like website chatbots and smarter virtual assistants play into this too.
Absolutely. Chatbots offer instant answers on your site. Assistants like Siri and Alexa are getting better at complex questions. They're all part of this broader AEO ecosystem.
You mentioned Bing earlier too. It's not just Google.
Good point. Bing's market share fluctuates, but it's still a player, especially on desktop. It's worth considering. But the main takeaway is that AEO, chatbots, virtual assistants, they're all opening up new ways for businesses to reach people.
So the focus has to shift.
It has to.
Right.
From just keywords to actually answering questions directly. That means investing in really good content, using structured data smartly, embracing these new technologies, and keeping a close eye on your results. Businesses have more tools than ever beyond just Google search results to connect with their audience.
Okay, let's get into the mechanics a bit.
Yeah.
How do these answer engines actually work? What's under the hood?
They're running on some pretty sophisticated AI, especially natural language processing or NLP. It's way beyond just matching keywords now. They use machine learning and NLP to figure out the user's intent, what they really mean when they ask something.
So NLP helps them understand the meaning, not just the words.
Exactly. The relationships between words, the context. And like we said, you've got the two main types. Generative bots giving those chatty, human-like answers.
Like ChatGPT.
Right. Designed for more intuitive interaction. And then the voice assistants using voice recognition plus AI and NLP to give you accurate answers out loud. Super convenient, hands-free.
And this whole shift is driven by us, the users, asking more conversational questions and expecting fast answers.
Pretty much. We want speed, we want accuracy, and these generative AI tools and voice assistants are getting really, really good at providing that.
So for businesses listening, the message is adapt your content strategy because this is where users are heading.
Absolutely. It's a fundamental shift, but also, like we said, a huge opportunity to get your expertise seen right when someone needs it.
Okay, we get the what and the why. Let's dive into the how. What are the key strategies for actually doing answer engine optimization?
Right, the practical stuff. But the foundation is always, understanding your audience deeply, keeping your data organized, and committing to constantly improving your content. But let's break down some specifics. First up, keyword research, but with an AEO twist.
So not just broad topics, but the actual questions people are typing or saying.
Exactly. Tools like Google Keyword Planner are still useful, for seeing what's popular. But you need to actively look for the questions within those topics. Google Search Console is great here too. It shows you how you're already doing for answer-type searches.
So using things like what is, how to, why when researching.
Definitely. Those modifiers help you zero in on question-based queries and really understand the user's intent. And, maybe even start thinking about using generative AI itself to help brainstorm the kinds of specific questions people might have.
Okay, makes sense. Find the questions. Then step 2 is obviously creating content that answers them. What does high-quality content mean specifically for AEO?
It means content that directly addresses the user's question. Clearly, accurately, with authority. It needs solid research. It needs to be genuinely informative and tailored to what your audience actually needs to know.
Still need keywords in there.
Yeah, relevant keywords should be woven in naturally for discoverability, but the main focus has to be on making it engaging and super easy to understand, and formatting is huge here.
Bullet points, headings, that sort of thing.
Absolutely. Bullet points, clear headings that maybe even mirror the question, concise paragraphs, all that makes it easier for people to read and for the answer engines to scan and pull out the key info. If you consistently deliver value like that, your chances of getting into answer boxes or voice results go way up. More visibility, more traffic.
And structured data. Schema markup, how important is that?
Oh, hugely important. Crucial, really, for AEO. Schema markup is like adding little labels to your content that tell search engines exactly what things are. This is an FAQ, this is a how-to guide, this is a product review.
It gives context.
Precisely. Makes it much easier for the AI to interpret your content correctly. And that massively increases your odds of showing up in those quick answer formats. Schema.org has tons of type-specific ones for FAQs, how-tos, Q&As, using those relevant types. Big advantage.
Got it. And optimizing specifically for featured snippets, that position 0.
Yeah, that's a key target. The strategy there is concise, direct answers. Format them so they're easy for Google to just lift out. Clear headings matching common questions, followed immediately by a brief answer, often in bullet points or a numbered list. Make it dead simple for the algorithm.
Okay, what about voice search optimization? Is that different again?
A bit, yeah. Voice search relies heavily on understanding natural conversational language, so your content should try to match that tone. Think about how people actually speak their questions.
Using full sentences more, maybe.
Often, yes. It mirrors natural speech and actually tends to make the content more readable anyway. Also, really important for local businesses. Optimize for near-me searches. Best pizza near me, plumber near me. That's huge for local SEO via voice.
And getting a featured snippet helps with voice search too, right?
Definitely. The assistant will often read out the featured snippet, so landing one gives you visibility both on screen and out loud.
And creating really good FAQ pages seems like a no-brainer for AEO.
Total no-brainer. FAQ pages are literally built to answer common questions in a structured way. Great for users, great for answer engines. Just make sure the answers are clear, concise, and cover the key topics well.
And use schema markup on the FAQ page itself.
Absolutely. Use the FAQ page schema. It explicitly tells search engines, hey, these are questions and answers. Answer engines also tend to trust pages like About Us and well-built FAQs because they help establish credibility. And track your snippets. See which FAQs are getting pulled.
Finally, you keep mentioning trust and authority. How does AEO help build that?
Well, think about it. If you consistently show up with the clear, correct answer whenever someone in your field asks a question, what does that do? It positions your brand as the go-to expert, the reliable source. That builds immense trust and authority over time, which attracts more people who see you as the leader.
Okay, so we've implemented these strategies. How do we know if they're actually working? What should we be tracking?
Yeah, monitoring is key. You can't just set and forget. You need to watch your metrics. Things like overall organic traffic, obviously. Click-through rates from search results. Are people clicking when they see your answer or snippet? And engagement on your site. Are they sticking around, reading more?
Those metrics tell you if the AEO stuff is actually moving the needle?
Exactly. They show you what's effective and, just as importantly, where you might need to tweak things. You need good web analytics tools, maybe some dedicated monitoring platforms to really dig into this.
And you need to keep checking regularly.
Absolutely. User search habits change. Algorithms get updated constantly. You have to regularly review how your content is performing to make sure it stays relevant and effective.
So it's an ongoing process of refinement.
Totally iterative. You look at the data, maybe you get user feedback, which is gold, by the way, and you make improvements. Keep the content fresh. Keep answering the questions people are actually asking now. That continuous loop of monitoring and improving is crucial for long-term AEO success.
Okay, let's talk bottom line. What are the big benefits businesses actually see when they invest in AEO?
Well, fundamentally, AEO is becoming essential because it lines up perfectly with how people want information now immediately. So the benefits are pretty significant. You get much better visibility in those prime spots, the answer boxes, the voice results.
Which leads to more engagement and traffic.
Exactly. Higher visibility naturally leads to more people interacting with your brand.
Can you break down that engagement benefit a bit more? How does AEO specifically help there?
Sure. When you give someone the exact answer they need right away, that's a great user experience. They're satisfied, so they tend to engage more, maybe spend longer on your site, look at other pages, maybe even take an action like signing up or buying something.
Because you've quickly solved their problem.
Right, you've guided them efficiently. This means lower bounce rates. People aren't hitting back because they didn't find what they needed, and they're more likely to come back next time. It just improves the whole user journey and your site's overall performance metrics.
And the organic traffic boost. How significant can that be?
It can be really significant. Appearing in those highly visible answer boxes and snippets puts you front and center. And we talked about voice search. Something like 58% of consumers use voice search for local businesses. Optimizing for that with AEO is massive for local traffic.
And those FAQ pages driving traffic too.
Definitely. Well-structured FAQs are prime candidates for getting featured. So monitoring your organic traffic trends after implementing AEO is key to seeing the payoff. And again, consistently being that helpful, accurate source, that positions you as a thought leader. That doesn't just drive traffic now, it builds positive perception for the long haul.
So wrapping things up, it feels like AEO isn't just another tactic. It's really about shifting focus to prioritize direct answers in response to how people search today.
That sums it up perfectly. If you implement these AEO strategies effectively, you're going to see improvements in visibility, user engagement, and organic traffic. It's about understanding the tech, doing the right kind of research, using structured data, optimizing for voice, all aimed at meeting users where they are now.
It really sounds like it's moved from nice to have to strategic imperative.
I think so. If you embrace AEO, you position your business as that trusted, reliable source. You build authority. And ultimately, that leads to better results, higher conversions. It's time to really integrate AEO thinking into your content strategy.
So the core takeaway seems clear. AEO is essential for navigating this changing information landscape. If you want to connect with people actively looking for answers, understanding and doing AEO isn't really optional anymore.
Right. It's vital. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? As AI keeps reshaping how we find everything, what happens to businesses that don't prioritize giving direct answers? Do they just risk becoming invisible in this new world?
That's a powerful thought to end on. Definitely something for everyone listening to consider.